Climate change is the world's greatest existential threat, but if handled well, it presents one of the world's greatest environmental, economic, and societal opportunities. Using our CRBBP process, we do good things for the health and well-being of the planet and its people. Next slide. Hi, I'm Joe James. I'm a former 33-year economic development professional. I won the Purpose Prize in 2008 for my work using innovative ag-related concepts to uplift poor, rural, and urban communities of color. That laid the groundwork about what I do today. I served a 6-year term as a secretarial appointee on the Federal Biomass Research and Development Technical Advisory Committee. I invented our CRBBP process and invented, licensed, and patented innovative biomass carbonization and utilization processes. Next, please. The challenges that we're focused on are climate change, where there's a need for cost-effective CO2 capture and carbon reuse, other environmental challenges that face air, soil, and water, and particularly in a city like Baltimore, health challenges where dangerous levels of airborne particulate matter and other contaminants are flowing into at-risk communities, causing illness and death. Next, please. Our solution is our combined remediation, biomass, and bioproduct production process. Using that process, we plant and we multitask. The multitask is important because it allows us to make things in a much more cost-effective way. We're multitasking special biocrops to capture CO2, simultaneously remediate contaminated air, soil, and water, and they do that less expensively. We then harvest and convert those crops into circular economy bioproducts in which the captured carbon is sequestered. Next, please. Our favorite crop is biomass sorghum because it grows fast, big, and in 6 months captures 7 tons of CO2 per acre. You can see on the left standard sorghum. Well, it was on the left and it is again. And on the right is biomass sorghum. You can see they're both at their 6-month maturity and you can see the differential in size. Next, please. We asked the University of California at Berkeley to do an assessment of the CO2 capture rate for biomass sorghum, switchgrass, and pine trees, and you can see how excellent biomass sorghum compares to those other sources, other mechanisms for capturing CO2. In fact, we hope the federal government will do an analysis of the uptake potential of key crops and trees and do a comparison like we've done here. Next, please. So our target customers and markets are the following. For environmental services, we've targeted utilities. And then we make a variety of bioproducts, including a bio-based filler powder alternative to carbon black. We also make a superior poultry house bedding, and then we can then convert that, that litter into a biochar soil amendment as well. Next, please. Our utilities go-to-market strategy has got us first involved with the Exelon Corporation. ATP-MD received funding from the Exelon Corporation to begin a project in Baltimore. We have then been acquainted with Dominion Energy, who's providing funding for us to do a project in Ohio. And then lastly, Philadelphia Gas Works has also engaged us to do a project in Philadelphia. Next, please. Oh, before we leave that, yeah, that's good. That's good. Next slide, please. So with these utilities, we're carrying out several utility demo projects, which involve planting biomass sorghum in their sites to capture significant amounts of CO2. And then we collect the biomass and convert it into biochar, which is then applied to those sites to permanently sequester the captured carbon and generate carbon credits. Actually, our first project will be this spring, beginning in Ohio, and we hope to be planting in both Baltimore and Philadelphia next spring. Next, please. We're also working on a concept of bringing farms proximate to large emitters. And we do that through a concept that we're still working on called vertical biocrop farms. And because we're able to take a crop that has a single 6-month outdoor season and create 2 indoor seasons in perfect light and environment, we think we can dramatically increase our CO2 capture rate. Next, please. So our VBFs should be able to capture CO2, up to 20 tons of CO2 per acre per year from power plants and other large CO2 emitters, including emitters like the harbor tunnels. Next, please. So as our biocrops remediate vacant sites in cities, they'll capture CO2, and given the size and leaf structure of our crops, they can also screen out significant amounts of airborne particulate matter. They will also do the same as they remediate utility sites or brownfield sites, or extract excess nutrients from the soils of watersheds like we've done for the Chesapeake Bay watershed. Next, please. Again, we convert the resulting biomass into a variety of circular economy bioproducts. Next slide, please. Here's an example of a shipping pallet made from plastic waste blended with our bio-based filler powder. The USDA helped us make that pallet. Next, please. We've accomplished several milestones. We've successfully demonstrated our ability to extract nitrogen and phosphorus from Chesapeake Bay watershed farm soils. We've successfully demonstrated the efficacy of our cost advantage bioproducts. I mentioned ATP's funding from the Exelon Foundation. Our Virginia operating affiliate was assisted by Dominion Energy, and our Pennsylvania affiliate is involved now with Philadelphia Gas Works, as I mentioned earlier. Next, please. We have an outstanding group of collaborators, R&D partners, and funders. We also won the Lake Erie Hack Competition Prize for work that we're going to do in Ohio. It also protects Lake Erie, similar to the Chesapeake Bay. We are among the first grantees of a new federal program called BioMade, and in collaboration with the University of Akron School of Polymer Science, we're demonstrating the efficacy of our bio-based filler powders. We've got great university partnerships doing a variety of different things. We're excited about some things that are in the future coming up in collaboration with those universities as well. Next, please. There are major risks, of course. There are technology risks, and competitors might be able to find better ways and less costly ways of doing what we do. However, our ability to capture CO2 right now costs about $50 a ton, which is very competitive with what the other alternatives are. And our multitasking feature helps to mitigate that technology risk. And there certainly are governmental incentive risks. We're disappointed that most of the incentives are directed at other forms of carbon capture. We think that the ability for certain types of biocrops to capture lots of CO2 deserves support from the federal government as well. Next, please. We certainly have competitors. Some are using equipment to capture CO2. Others have floating islands that clean up water-based challenges. Kanza Renewable Fuels uses carbonization to make bioproducts, but we're not aware of any companies that are able to utilize more than one or maybe two of our patented 4 solutions under our CRBBP process. Next, please. So when we look at where we'll be in year 2030, we think we can capture about 8,300,000 tons of CO2 over the various acreage treatments that are listed here in this chart. And we're excited about the multi-state efforts that we're involved in now that are going to get us heading in that right direction. Next slide, please. So if we do this right, our nation and the world avoids the perils of climate change. Utilities lessen their carbon footprint. Manufacturers enjoy cost-effective bio-based inputs like our filler powder. By the way, carbon black is pretty nasty stuff. I don't know if you've looked at how it's made and what its impact is. And we are becoming more and more concerned about something called tire wear, where every 3 years or so, you have to replace your tires. Well, they sort of wear out and they create a powder that gets into air, soil, and water. We're concerned about that, and our product can help overcome that challenge. Our nation and states will benefit from a new bioeconomy. We're very excited about our relationship with BioMade, and in fact, they're coming out with a new solicitation focused on climate change. We look forward to getting involved in that. And dear to my heart, we can do things that provide environmental justice, better health outcomes, and jobs, and other economic benefits to at-risk communities. Next slide, please. So again, climate change is the world's greatest environmental threat, but if handled well, it presents one of the world's greatest environmental, economic, and societal opportunities. Using our CRBBP process, we do good things for the health and well-being of the planet and its people. Thank you.